Have you ever wondered if you're actually more attractive than you think? You might not see it when you look in the mirror every day. But attractiveness isn't only about facial features or getting compliments. Sometimes it shows up in the assumptions people make about you, the way they treat you, and even the qualities they automatically associate with you. Here are 8 subtle signs you may be underestimating your own attractiveness. 1. People assume you're already taken. Have you ever told someone you're single and they looked genuinely surprised? Maybe they say, "Wait, you're single?" Or they assume you already have someone without even asking. That doesn't automatically mean you're exceptionally attractive. But people often make quick assumptions based on the overall impression someone gives them. Your appearance, confidence, social presence, and the way you carry yourself can all contribute to that impression. So if people repeatedly assume you're already in a relationship, it may be a sign that you're giving off qualities they associate with someone who has plenty of romantic options. 2. People often describe you differently from how you describe yourself. You might think you're ordinary. Maybe you don't consider yourself particularly confident, stylish, or charismatic. But then someone describes you completely differently. They might call you confident, elegant, intimidating, or even magnetic. That's interesting, because we experience ourselves from the inside. Other people experience us from the outside. You know every awkward moment and insecurity you've ever had. They don't. So when multiple people independently describe you in ways that don't match your own self-image, it may be worth questioning whether your self-perception is simply outdated. 3. People give you more benefit of the doubt. Here's a subtle one. Have you noticed that people sometimes interpret your mistakes more generously than you expected? You make an awkward comment, and instead of judging you harshly, they laugh it off. You arrive somewhere looking tired, and people assume you had a long day. You say something slightly blunt, and they interpret it as confidence rather than arrogance. Attractiveness can influence social perception. People don't always evaluate appearance separately from personality. Sometimes, a positive first impression creates a more favorable interpretation of everything that comes afterward. 4. People are curious about your style. This isn't necessarily about compliments. It's about copying your choices. Maybe someone asks where you bought your clothes, what perfume you're wearing, what haircut you got, or what skincare product you use. One question means almost nothing, but when people repeatedly want to know how you create your appearance, they may see something about your presentation that they would like to incorporate into themselves. Your attractiveness may not simply come from your features. It may come from the way you put everything together. 5. People notice you in different contexts. Here's an interesting experiment. Think about how people react to you when you're dressed casually, compared with when you're dressed intentionally. Maybe the difference is surprisingly noticeable. This can reveal something important. Attractiveness isn't always a fixed trait. It's influenced by hairstyle, clothing, posture, facial expression, environment, and even how comfortable you feel. If people consistently react more positively when you make small changes to your presentation, you may have more potential to enhance your appearance than you realize. 6. People remember your face after a short interaction. Imagine meeting someone only once. Weeks later, you run into them again, and they recognize you immediately. That doesn't necessarily mean they're attracted to you. But distinctiveness matters. Some faces simply leave a stronger visual impression because of their features, expressions, style, or overall presence. And being memorable can contribute to perceived attractiveness. You don't necessarily need to look like a model. Sometimes, having a distinctive appearance is what makes someone stand out. 7. People seem surprised when you reveal your insecurities. This one can be especially revealing. You might casually say, "I actually don't like this about myself." And they respond, "Really? I never noticed that." Or even, "That's the thing you're insecure about." Here's the important part. You may be focusing on a feature that other people barely notice. When we're insecure about something, our attention naturally magnifies it. We repeatedly check it, criticize it, and compare it. But other people don't spend nearly as much time analyzing us as we imagine, so the flaw that feels obvious to you may be practically invisible to everyone else. 8. You don't see yourself the way new people do. This may be the biggest sign of all. You see yourself constantly. You see yourself when you're tired, when your hair looks terrible, when you're stressed, when you're not trying to impress anyone. So your brain becomes extremely familiar with your own appearance. But someone meeting you for the first time doesn't have that same reference point. They experience your face, voice, style, and personality as something new. That's why your own opinion of your attractiveness isn't always an objective measurement. You may have become so familiar with yourself that you've stopped noticing what makes you attractive to other people. You don't have to feel attractive every day to be attractive. Sometimes, the biggest difference is simply between how you see yourself and how other people see you. So before judging yourself too harshly, remember, you may be much more attractive than your own reflection has taught you to believe.